Welcome to the next episode of the CAPB Podcast. Today we have an old colleague of mine when I was serving, Dan Moughton, who is still serving and is the founder of Heresy is My Therapy. Welcome, Dan.
Hello guys, how you doing? Are you well?
Welcome, Dan. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're good. How are you, buddy?
You know what? I'm glad to be here on this podcast, spinning dates, sharing some laughs, and talking about business both in and out of the army, which is good. As long as we're not talking too much shop, I'm happy.
There'll be not a lot of shop. Well, we'll see. We'll see where we go with it because, looking into the topic of your business is something we know nothing about, and I think it's one of those things that is a really interesting one because it's hugely popular globally, but again, and hugely popular in the military community. So I'm fascinated to hear about it, mate.
Before we go on to that, though, you're still serving. You served coming up to 2 decades now.
Yeah, if you want a word like that, yeah, 2 decades.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you give us a highlight of your military career so far?
Highlight of military career. Started off in the REME as a young craftsman, transferred across to the glorious Med Corps. It's where obviously I met Mr. Spruce over here. Went on to some sort of like more austere adventures. Then went down to Plymouth, enjoyed some time in 2-9, did some practice manager work, hated it. Went into welfare, had a really good time, and then obviously I'm a PSI, and then going back into more training jobs. Through that, worked all over the world in lots of different environments with some really amazing people. Worked at the very top end of what you can be as a medic, and also and also shared some lows as well. But I think I've had a very broad and varied career. I've managed to sample a lot that the army has to offer. So in that aspect, it's been a very interesting and rewarding career in all fairness. Yeah, so far.
Mate, I've served with you, obviously. As I say, that's where we met. And I was just saying before we started recording the podcast, I think you're quite humble with it, if I'm going to be honest, because I remember being your sergeant major, you were the PTI, and like we mentioned earlier on, you were like revolutionising how we were doing like things like just unit PT. You were doing things that are now common ground, but you were doing it back then. You were doing it 10, 12 years ago when we were doing things like grappling and doing all that kind of stuff. And I think you were definitely ahead of your time in that space, mate. And that's something you should give yourself a little pat on the back for, mate.
Don't know about that. I think there's lots of things that, you adapt. And I think it's one of those weird things. When I was a young thrusting PTI and Landshack, I to be honest with you, I felt like I had a bit too much of an ego and was probably a little bit arrogant in a lot of things that I did on reflection. I think it's only when you get older you learn that and you retail and reshape and take away. Because you also get posted to places where you get humbled real quickly, and you realise, oh no, you're actually quite a small fish in a very big pond. So you should probably change the way you look at life and approach things, which I think was a really good ego check when I left Portsmouth, and that helped develop certain things as well in the way like we train soldiers, the way we train our reservists, the way we train people, how we approach certain things, differentiating between the what and the why, and how to get the best out of your troops as well in those sort of things. But and I think as well, when you look back at good role models that you had and good leaders versus bad leaders in your life, and I don't know where you sit, Matt, in that, but good or bad yet, I'm yet to decide. But no, you learn from good leaders and what you take away from those, and you end up applying a lot of those lessons in the way you kind of treat your troops and realize what they were doing for you at that time, and you then apply it. But if that makes sense.
It does make sense, mate. And I think one of the best postings I ever had was working as a PSI, working with the reserves and trying to come up with innovative, creative ways to keep them interested and keep the training was definitely one of my favourite postings I had. And the fact that you're in now, that's pretty cool. But military career aside, let's talk about what you do as a side hustle. Okay, so what is Heresy is My Therapy?
Yeah, so Heresy is My Therapy is basically a channel dedicated to kind of painting tutorials and all things Warhammer 40k, and that and that universe of and that community of wargaming. So it's just looking at, you know, gaming reviews, how to paint in a certain style, in a certain way, which I've kind of got a reputation within the community for. And then just trying out other gaming systems, but also as well as kind of spreading the word of what Warhammer is and what wargaming is and the benefits that it has. And I like to go out to different like tabletop gaming hangout spaces, shops, and just promote what they're doing. So that's what it's really kind of all about. It's everything Warhammer, because I absolutely love it.
So, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm going to be blunt. What the fuck is Warhammer?
Right. Okay. Cool. Now we've only got a short period of time. In essence, Warhammer is a tabletop war game. So in essence, think Risk and chess, but with dice, and each piece has its own stat that it can do certain things at certain times.
Okay.
And it's basically think chess and Risk, but with dice. And you have to just like, you know, meet certain objectives, destroy certain things. But the whole universe has its own lore behind it, which again, you know, encapsulates lots of people. You've got stories, lore, characters, things that people can relate to. You know, there's just this whole universe around it all that you can just really immerse yourself in and get involved. And you take that lore and you can take it to the tabletop and just enjoy that. And then from that, you can then have the side of enjoying the building and painting and taking something that's just a piece of plastic and turning it into something, an art form that you've created with your own ideas, and making it your own. So yeah, that's Warhammer in essence. I suppose that's the best way to kind of.
And you're, and without.
No, go on.
Okay, your favorite part of it. What do you like? Do you like the gaming? Do you like the painting? Do you like the building of the models themselves?
Honestly,
all the above. Although you can't have that as an answer. You can't have that
honestly,
all as an answer.
No. You can have all of that as an answer because honestly, it is all of that. It the lore. I really enjoy the lore. I love building. I love painting. I'm not as good at playing the game. You know, in all honesty, I'm not as good. Mainly because you just don't get as much time to. You know, they would probably say that 5% of your time is spent playing the game. The rest of it is building, painting, building army lists, and immersing yourself in the lore. But in all honesty, if you speak to most people within the community, they just love everything that encompasses in it. It genuinely, it's everything that encompasses in it. You know, it's you know, you don't really get to watch games, but when you're part of it all, that it's just so immersive. And it's everything that encompasses into it. Yeah. So I know it's a cop-out answer, you might feel, but genuinely, and you could.
It's not. I don't think it is a cop-out.
To most people in the community, and they will tell you the same thing.
I don't think. I think it's a good answer. I think it's a fair answer, and I think what you just said there's something. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you said. You've just said 5% is playing the game. 5%. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So the rest of it is doing things like creating your stuff, and I mean, it genuinely is an art form. Like genuinely is. What some of the stuff you do, and the way you do it, and your style, and we'll get onto that later. For someone who's not interested in it at all, it still fascinates me. Quality craftsmanship fascinates me, mate. And people who are very good at what they do is something that like I love. And seeing yours like painting those like the little things and making them look so good and getting the feedback you get, I think it's brilliant, mate. Where did it start, Dan? Was it like as a kid, went to a little toy shop, bought a little thing, and that was it? You were in.
So it kind of it went back to, oh God. Obviously, you get into Lego when you're growing up, and then when I was at school, I had a couple of friends that were kind of into it, and it was all like back in like the sort of like late 90s, early 2000s, when it was all like metal models and all that sort of stuff. And my mum, she was very creative in sort of like art and stuff, and really kind of was like encouraged it as well. And it was kind of at school where I took it on board. And obviously I joined the military and it kind of phased out of me a little bit until, I don't know, probably when I got to Portsmouth, actually, that I kind of just really pick it back up again. And then obviously I then, you come in and out of it, in and out of it, in and out of it. And then obviously over the past few years, I've really just kind of really immersed myself in it. But yeah, just growing up, the sort of like late 90s and early 2000s when I really started first getting into it.
And then when did you realize that you were good to create a channel? Because the Warhammer community is vast. And also, we'll touch on that as well. The Warhammer community within the military is pretty big.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy because it's the dirty secret no one talks about. But when did you realize that you had a talent for it?
It's not. I don't think it's a case of a talent for it. I think it was identified. It was just, in all honesty, it was a complete stroke of luck. It was a complete stroke of luck. The algorithm hit a video at the right time, and that's the truth. That's the reality of it all. It's not about like the talent. It was a video that I did that just did really well. That just soared my account. It came from I was scrolling through TikTok at the time, and I found a video that was talking about painting and different ways of painting quicker. And obviously, I'd been painting like the classic box art style of painting, which is edge highlighting and all sorts. And it takes forever to do. And there was this way that you could do something that was a lot quicker, that gave you that 3 foot rule, as we call it. And it took literally a fraction of the time. And I tried it once and I was like, you have got to be shitting me. What have I been doing with my life? This is no way. So I did a few videos and I tried it out and then posted some stuff. And then I got like a message here about, have you thought about doing tutorials? And I didn't really pay any attention to it until it was like daily getting like, can you please do some tutorials on how you're doing this? Because again, I'd stumbled across, and again, you stumble across the way of doing something, then you've made it your own. So it was like, I did this technique called slapshot painting, and then I added some stuff onto it that just kind of really gave the models a bit of extra detail. And I just kept getting a lot of messages. I thought, well, do you know what? I'll give it a go. And then I made a few videos, and next thing you know, it's gone the way it's gone. So it was genuinely, it was more of a stroke of luck with the algorithm, and obviously penciling with a little bit of the kind of work around it as well.
With the social media aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
Did you just go, right, I'm just going to use TikTok, I'm just going to go on TikTok and let's see? Or was it a case of doing a few videos yourselves and then didn't know, like, why did you pick TikTok as opposed to any other?
No, well TikTok was so as you probably, find, life has a really, really interesting way of, I think, without you realizing it, and I don't want to get into like a philosophical piece, but I think sometimes life has a really interesting way of guiding you down certain routes without you realizing it. Just giving you little nudges and sending down certain paths. So it started out that I ran something called Fox and Winters, which was like a gentleman's lifestyle sort of channel. And I used TikTok for that, but obviously I was still doing bits of Warhammer at the time, but nothing, Warhammer was always just supposed to be a hobby. It was nothing more. I never went to, it was just a hobby. It was just something that I enjoyed and shared every now and then. And I really went to the gentleman's fashion and lifestyle stuff, but every now and then life was, yeah. And then I got into like automotive YouTubing because again, it was during lockdown and I was, watching a lot of like car YouTubing and I was like, I could do this. And my missus was like, called me out and was like, well, go on then. So I was like, oh, wow, bluff called. And then got involved with like Army sports car racing and all sorts. So I was with the Army sports car racing team doing all their media work for that and having my own channel as well. But obviously that market's very saturated. And you need to be doing it all the time. And basically that, when I did that video of that model and it shot my account, it was life going, you have to make a choice here. Carry on doing this that deep down you're not really enjoying. You like the idea of it more than doing it, or this thing that you've been doing most of your life that you can talk about forever. And this, this little like, the effort you've been putting in going this way. So I made a conscious choice to go, okay, that's obviously where I'm being guided towards. So I just followed it and I've just gone that way. So I took all of the stuff that I've learned from like TikTok, YouTube, the car YouTubing world, how to, do camera angles, what shots work well, how to post using hashtags, trending sounds, etc., etc. I've just applied it now tenfold into the Warhammer stuff, which is what it is.
I love it, mate. I absolutely love the fact that you made a decision on going, I do this, which is safe.
Yeah.
This is safe. I'm doing a thing. They're providing the content for me. I'm just recording it. or I go here and do something which I love doing, I'm passionate about, I'm excited about. And I love that you made that decision, because I'd completely forgot about that. I remember seeing some of the car stuff, and the car stuff was good. You were doing good stuff.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It was really good, like really good, edgy looking recordings and content and stuff. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. Do you still use all of the platforms?
Yeah.
Are you still on TikTok? Are you still on?
No, I don't use TikTok. I just use YouTube, and I just use Instagram. They're the only two that I use.
Because your platform on Instagram, you're at nearly 25,000 followers, which is incredible, mate.
It's a bit wild. It is good. It's a bit. My problem is I'm just not very good at marketing myself. You know, like I know that sounds really mental, but like, when I used to do all the car YouTube and stuff, and I really, when you peek behind the curtain of like automotive YouTubing, it's not a nice world. Like, it really isn't a nice world. It is that influencer thing. It's all about money. It's all about image. It's a little bit toxic. And I just didn't want to be part of it, like, anymore. And so, the point I'm trying to make is, like, people in that world, it's always like, well, I've got this amount of followers, give me something for free. Give me free stuff. I want this. I'll help you out, but I want this. And I just don't like doing it. Like, I'm not, you know, I just don't like that. I should have that entitlement because I've got this following. It's not right. And it doesn't sit with me well. So I never like to go up to companies and ask for free stuff. It's just not, you know, and I'm doing it wrong. I'm very, very lucky to be able to get, I do get stuff, which is amazing. But it's generally because, you know, companies have approached me, but I never want to directly message someone and go, oh, I've got these followers, send me some models. You know, I've asked that for, you know, affiliate programs, of course, because, you know, it's helping them, helping me, you know, working well. So the affiliate stuff works really, really well. But yeah, I don't lean into the following enough, to be honest with you. And I know some guys that have got a lot less and do. Honestly, I've got some mates in this community who are just shameless with it, and it's great to watch it because they suit it. But I just can't pull it off, and I just don't like doing it. But yeah,
I've got a question, right? Because because what you do is very unique. Specifically, I think within the military community, it's a bit like Fight Club, right? First rule of Warhammer Club is you don't talk about it, right? Obviously, through fear of ridicule, shall we say? Because you know, it's anyone that's different in the military has kind of gone, "Why are you doing that for? We don't do that. We don't do this." How
helps having cauliflower ears, though.
It helps looking the way you look. Okay, that also helps. How have you got? So have you? Firstly, how have you got any sort of bad press from what you're doing? I say bad press, but like trolling or bants, shall we say? And have you noticed any other military sort of like cross paths with any other military businesses as a part of what you do now?
Yeah, no. So that's an interesting one. So the first one was like, have you had like negative stuff? Of course, yeah. You're always going to get it, especially when you know, when your platform grows. You're always, you know, I'm sure, you know, Steve Kelly will you know, would have said the same thing. You're always going to get people that, you know, don't like what you do. I've had lots of comments saying like slap chop painting soulless. There's no creativity behind it. People leaving, you know, negative comments, and you can look at it and go, actually, I appreciate that comment. You made a really good point. I actually might improve some of these bits and pieces. But if you don't like having negative comments or can't see through it, this space isn't for you, because people don't like, you know, depending on who you are as a person, depends if you like seeing people succeed or not, you know, and it all depends on that, on those sort of things. But yeah, you're always going to, you know, as I'm sure you guys will find, as you continue to grow the way you are, you're always going to have someone that will leave some like stupid comment, and then you'll be like, yeah, okay, great. With regards to like crossing paths with military, is that like as in companies that are Warhammer focused within the military or wider?
Yeah, Warhammer focused.
In fact, yeah, I've got a couple of guys that are doing a few bits and pieces that are working on some stuff. But generally, not a vast amount. No. I've got a lad Scott, he has a channel called Plays with Soldiers, and he does loads for like board gaming and Warhammer as well. And he's really good with like charities and reaching out with communities. Really good lad. Medic as well. Scott Rutherford. Really good lad. Bronson, he's like a 6 foot big burly bloke with a great big mustache. He again loves it. Oddly doesn't get any grief for it either. You know, because
Mate,
he looks like he could just. Sorry.
What I was going to say was, why do you think, in your opinion, why is it so popular? Why is Warhammer so? Because it's a hugely popular thing. Regardless of whether people talk about it or not, it's massively popular and it's big in the military community. I've seen recently on some of the mainstream media, military media channels about meets and about like a community and about various clubs coming together. So why do you think it is?
I think what Games Workshop have done is really, because you know Games Workshop are a Fortune 500 company. You know they're in the FTSE 500 in the UK. You know it's a multi-million, now billion, you know, dollar company. I think why is it so popular? I think because of the immersive lore around it, and you can escape from the reality of the world. You know the highs and lows of what you've got. Your imagination is allowed to go wild with stuff. You've got a whole lore behind it that allows you to take some of your favorite sort of like characters and build something around those. And I think, you know, because it brings people together, it brings people that maybe didn't quite fit in, that are looking for other people that are in that space to, you know, come together. It's an escape. It offers so much in so many different aspects and it's for everyone as well. As long as you're just happy, just kind of just go, you know what, I'm just going to get involved in it. And I don't really care what people think of me. But I just want to get involved in this because there's always something that people, you know, find interest in. I think it's just because of what it offers people, is probably why it has so much flexibility and it has so much diversity within it itself as well. I think that's what it is. It just makes people feel part of a community that probably weren't part of a community before, if that makes sense.
It does. I think anything that gives people an escape, anything that people can get into, because like you said, it's a huge thing. It's not just being good at rolling the dice and playing a board game and it being a bit tactical. It is about, like you said earlier on, it's like 5% is the game. The rest of it is the creativity, the painting, the going to different shops and building your stuff. And I genuinely think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating that so many people are into it. And I think that, you know, and like Paul said, it's like the dirty step cousin of hobbies because no one wants to celebrate that they do it. I mean, because there is that, God, look, this guy, nerd, painting his Warhammer stuff. But it doesn't read cool. It's such a naive thing, mate.
Honestly, it doesn't read cool. I know, it doesn't read cool. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, when you're walking down the beach, no one's going, oh, I wonder how many points he's got in his Space Marine army. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's doing that. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's like when runners go out, you know, it doesn't impress anyone, does it? You know, it definitely has its own stereotype. Of course it does. You know, it's cool, but it's not cool. It's just interesting.
Well, that's the thing that I like, mate, because you break the stereotype, and a lot of the people in the military break the stereotype. Like we said earlier on, you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? You're a big, strong lad. You like your fizz. Do you know what I mean?
Well, take me out for dinner first, jeepers.
Do you know what I mean? but then you have this filthy secret.
And that's it. Yeah. But you know, it's funny because I say funny. And it's the only time where I'll be a bit of a dick with the whole Instagram thing, because people will be going, "Oh, you do all that Warhammer stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, mate, I do. I hate getting free stuff and getting paid by YouTube. It's horrible. I just hate free money. You know,
I burn it.
I just give it back because I just don't want it. You know, no more models, please. You know, but that's the only time I remember I'm like it, because like you say, and then people also go, well, what do you mean you get paid by YouTube? Then you start showing people stuff, then all of a sudden like, oh, you've got that many followers, you got this, you got that. You're like, yeah. And then people are like, wait, you can get paid for this? You're like, yeah. You know, and they're like, So it's all that sort of stuff.
Mate, I think that leads me on nicely onto the next bit, which is you've had so far, and it's still good going, a very successful military career. This isn't just like a hobby for you. There are many elements to it, and not just the Warhammer bit, but the social media bit, the content creation, the videos, the algorithm stuff. Do you think you've taken anything from your military career, like any lessons or any like values that you think that's important to me when I'm building your brand?
Yeah, so there's like a few sort of like pivotal points I think with this that I've taken away. One, hard work pays off. You know, it's the fact that the army instills a really good work ethic in you, I think, and if you're willing to apply it. So like, for example, I'm full-time career, have a family, a toddler, and I'm still trying to get like painting done as well. You know, yes, you run on coffee and hopes and dreams, sure, but in the same breath, if you haven't got a good work ethic in this, then you're just not going to, because a really interesting quote I heard the other day, and again, I apologize for the sort of philosophical side of it, is God listens to your prayers, but he blesses your hands. You know, which is a case of like, you can talk about all the stuff that you want, but unless you're using these and your work ethic is there, you're not going to reap what you sow. So one thing I would say is it's hard work. You know, I don't just wake up in the morning, like paint a little thing for 2 minutes, then do something. It's like, it's all the building, the time, the setting up, the taking time in your day to go, right, get all your jobs done first. Now you can focus on the business side. And it means you go in bed at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, getting up at 6 with a little one, then so be it. The difference is I don't mind, because I absolutely love doing it. And that's, you know, it's that. Another thing as well I've found that I've applied is authenticity and credibility. You know, you have to be authentic because you get found out. It's no different to the military. If you're not authentic and credible, you lose respect of either your peer group, your subordinates, and even and those above you. You know, you have to be authentic. You have to be able to, you know, be who you are as an individual and not put on a mask. You know, when you're in front of the camera, like what people see is it's me. It's not a mask. It's not a character. It's Dan. You know, and so when people come up to and say hello and stuff, which is awesome, they're relatable to that person, because you can't bluff it. You know, and I think if you take authenticity and credibility that you have to have in the military and apply it to business in general, it will do well. You know, if you put a mask on for people, eventually it will slip and people will see right through it. But hard work.
Mate, I really love that. It's something we can relate to. A lot of the brands and people and veterans and people we've had on the podcast are the same. You know, you've got, the game is the game, and if you want the rewards and you want that, you know, you've got to put the hours in. And we've, you know, none of it's easy. And you look at some of the businesses like Challenge Coins UK, who started on his in-laws kitchen unit trying to come up with stuff. I've got some ideas, I'm going to try this, to where he is now. You look at, you know, Jack Wiles from Rugby Buckets rebranding to RB Club. He was like, he had a job, he was doing it, he was just, you know, he taught himself something from a video, and now he's released like a brand which he's going to challenge in the rugby space because of the hard work. And if people see a brand and go, oh yeah, I want a piece of that, you need to work many hours and it's going to be really hard and you're going to have to make sacrifices. Fuck that. No, I'm out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, sleep is one of them. That is just a reality. Sleep. But again, how many times have you been on like exercises or operations where you've had no sleep and had to get the jobs done? You just apply that same work ethic, especially if you love it as well and you've got a vision and you want to go somewhere with it. Then that definitely helps.
Mate, we had Tegs, Tom Day, who's a Royal Marine, who left the Royal Marines to become an influencer. That was his job, that's what his plan was doing. And he came on and he was brilliant, mate. And he basically said, and it just links to what you were saying a minute ago, he said, everything's been done. Anything you think of on social media has already been done. And he's like, so you've just got to be yourself, because if you try and just replicate what someone else has done, or I'm just going to try, like you say, put a mask on and try and just be like that, you'll get found out. Whereas if you're just authentically yourself, you know, I think it's brilliant, mate. I think, honestly, what you're doing's with it. And I mean, I am one of the people, I mean, I don't troll you, but I definitely give you banter, mate. Good banter.
That's good.
And I remember someone like it was you put a post on it, like,
engagement helps the analytics. That's all I'm saying. So please keep commenting away. I love it. You're only helping me out. The more hate you can give, the better it is for me. I love
you're welcome. You're welcome. What's next, mate? What's next for Heresy as my therapy? Because I've noticed recently you have got you're bringing out a bit of a clothing brand, a bit of merch, which is nice, representing. What's the plan?
So that is a thing. This is the thing, and it is pretending. I'm looking at potentially my last 2 to 3 years left. In the military, can I do this as a full-time job? And that's the goal, is to be able to do this every day. My goal is my goal in life, and you're almost there. Is I want to be able to just be in a position where I get up in the morning, I take my daughter to nursery or school, I come home, I paint minis all day, make some videos. My missus, she goes to work or goes wherever she wants to go and do. We can have lunch together in the daytime. I go back to my little shed, make some more videos, paint some more models, go collect my daughter from school, come home and have eating with the family. Like, honestly, that's my goal. If that is where I want to be, where I make enough money for that to be my life. People want to go we'll travel, we'll go and travel and take her to amazing places. But this little hub with my daughter and my missus is like my entire world. And that's where if I can be in a place where I can take my daughter to school, have some good quality time with the missus, paint models all day and be paid for it, then you know what, that's it. That's it. The next 10 years of my little one growing up, I don't really want to be going all over the place. I don't want to be, being in like stupid positions. I want to just be enjoying, just enjoying the passage of time. And I'm hoping, and I've got like 2 and a bit years to kind of keep building and working really hard to get into a good place where I can have that money coming in, and just enjoying. Do I need a Ferrari? No. Do I need a massive house? No. I've got so much already that I'm so grateful for, that I just want to enjoy that sort of like period of 40 to 50. And if I can do it through the medium of Warhammer, that's the goal. That's the goal.
I love it, mate. I love it. What's the quote? Do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People say that. And I think, mate, having a passion like you've got for this and a talent, because it is a talent. Your painting is, from an outside looking in, you're very credible in your space as a painter, but also the style of your content, all of it, mate, is you're pulling it together well. You've got a great following, and I've learned something. I've 100% learned something. And I was definitely, certainly when I was when like people do Warhammer, you're like, what?
Yeah. Of course.
Like, oh, right. Weird. Why don't they do like normal stuff like sport?
Yeah.
But I think, as I say, I think more people like you celebrating it and sharing it makes it more acceptable. Yeah. I say that even saying makes it acceptable is bad, because there's nothing wrong. I think it normalizes it. Normalizes it, mate.
Honestly, to most people that don't understand it, but it's like all things. If you don't understand it, you're probably like not a bit sure. It's like, I use like jiu-jitsu as a bit of an analogy for it, because it's like when you first go and see it, it's just like a load of blokes like rolling around with each other, and you're a bit like, that's a bit weird.
Nothing wrong with it, mate.
You know what I mean? But then like you get into it, and then like you probably met guys in jiu-jitsu, like, we're into it. You know what I mean? Like, as I always make, as a make the joke, and it's a bit of joke in the jiu-jitsu community, like, when you're a blue belt, you're a certified gay man. You know what I mean? It's just, it is. But like, when you don't understand it at first, it's like, it's really weird. You don't know what it's all about. Then all of a sudden, just things come together. You immerse yourself and you're involved in it. And I think it's like most hobbies, though. When you don't understand it or don't know it, then you start to pick things up and get involved, and it just takes over your life. That's kind of the best in a way. But I get it. I do understand that when you see Warhammer, though, there is that next level of.
Really? I think it's getting less. I genuinely think it is getting less. And I think, like you said, on a very serious point, anything that gives people an escapism, gives them that meditative space, that time to reflect, the time to do stuff, whether that is running, whether it's painting, whether it's Warhammer, whether it doesn't matter what it is. I think certainly in the space that we've all worked in, anything that will give you a bit of a release, as you know, has got to be celebrated. Do you know what I mean? It has to be celebrated.
Yeah.
But,
No, I
yeah.
completely agree. Completely agree.
Mate, Dan, it has been fascinating, mate. It has been a fascinating insight into Heresy as my therapy and into Warhammer on the whole, mate. And it's been really good to catch up. So thank you.
Yeah. No.
For giving the time away from painting, mate, and come and speak to us on a podcast.
Not at all. Not at all. I like I say, I could honestly, you could make this 4 hours long, and I could sit and talk about it all the time. So I tell you what, if you listen to audiobooks at all, do you like an audiobook?
Yeah.
Don't mind an audiobook, mate. Don't mind an audiobook.
Right. Go and listen to an audiobook called the Tanner Thirst. It's the Gaunt's Ghosts. I'll send you the link. Gaunt's Ghosts by Dan Abnett, book 1, which is, I think, which one is it? Just try and find book 1 of Gaunt's Ghosts. And it is basically, it follows the story of a Colonel Commissar. It's like an infantry unit within the Warhammer world. But it is so relatable. Dan Abnett, I'm sure Dan Abnett must have been in the military, because it is so relatable, militarily wise. You'll be able to get yourself into the lore quite easily. It follows like a normal infantry unit that like a scout recon unit that are really good. End up getting sent on like suicide missions and stuff like that. The classic stuff. But in terms of them trying to get kit, it's a nightmare. The higher ups, HQ's a nightmare. Do you know what I mean? You read it and you're like, oh my God, I've been here. This is, I know what this is. It's so relatable. So if I could recommend anything, just even if you just want to dip your toe into it all. I don't want to get into the Horus Heresy and all this stuff. If you just from a military perspective and just enjoying a little bit of the Warhammer lore and what it's all about, Dan Abnett is a phenomenal writer, and Toby Longworth, who narrates it, is a really, really good orator who just kind of brings it all to life. Yeah, Dan Abnett, Gaunt's Ghosts. I'll send you a link to it. Book 1. Tell me if you enjoy it or not, because honestly, it's so relatable militarily wise that you just be like, oh, I get it. No, I get this.
I'll be like, Dan, you got any vouchers for Warhammer, mate? Fucking hell, I'm in, mate. I need to build up my Space Marines. They fucking build up my Space Marines. Did they do a Space Marine post NCO asking for a friend?
Yeah, for a friend. Yeah. Just what would you recommend for this? Absolutely. But yeah,
mate, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Dan, mate, and we cannot wait to share the episode, mate.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, and it's been really good to catch up, and of course meet you as well, Paul. You're obviously the better looking of the two, so
Yeah, that one. That's staying in.
We'll edit that out. We will edit.
That should be edit that out. Hot clip. That should be the main clip.
Yeah,
we'll edit that out.